They'll let you take her home with her appetite. She'll lay your arm and phone. She got Betty Davis eyes. She'll take a tumble on you, roll you like you were dice until you come out blue. She's got Betty Davis eyes. She'll expose you when she snows you. Off your feet.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Hope everyone's feeling well. It's 6:34. I'm sorry I'm a little late. It was a night. It was a night. Oh, goodness gracious. I had like 20 people over the house. Went to the pork store yesterday at lunch. Had two different types of kibasi, a little skirt steak, and then for dessert we cooked a tomahawk and had a great night. It was funny when everybody was leaving. It was like after the Knicks won, what a great win. And you see Brunson tough his nails after his interview. Chase says to me, he's like, so what time do you have to get up tomorrow? I'm like, 4:45. He's like, you going to get up? I'm like, I'll be all right. That was the sickest interview ever when they're like, Brunson, you know, and he's like, I didn't really play great. You know, I got it together. We got it together. Da, da, da. And the reporter's like, you got a little banged up. Your knee, you this, you that. Brunson stares at the reporter. He goes, I'll be all right. And just walked off with like no emotion. I'm like, that's friggin' the sickest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, what the rabbi say? Live life. I have an Italian wife. I'm allowed to have pork. Anyway, with that being said, market definitely has been feeling a little bit vulnerable since last Friday. To me, the market's felt a little vulnerable. You know, when Google failed that upper range, when Amazon did the red dog reversal sell, you know, things just felt as a little bit off. So I've been trying to pare down some risk. You know, I've been selling some premium. I bought some puts for the first time, down to like 5 longs versus 15, and we'll see how it goes. But anyway, with that being said, you know, you do have the Qs, right? The Qs have had a major move since 635, 636 breakout. It's been above the 8 days since. You have this ascending channel here. So for today, it's going to be interesting. Today, it's going to open below yesterday's low, which is what? This was 741. So the question is, does it hold the 8 day, or does it want to work its way down towards 724 and have the 21-day move up? We shall see. You know, all in all, you know, pressing a down move has been tough. You know, right now the Qs are down 8, so it's 735. So that's right here. So the Qs are right there. So what I would do if you went home short, cover a little bit and then see how it goes. SPYs also, I was telling you guys yesterday, I'm like, you know, SPYs feel vulnerable. I've been selling premium. I've been selling the 759s. Then what about what puts? I put the 753. So we'll see. This is going to be opening below the 8 day. So the question is, does it stay below or does it reclaim it? Right? 753.57 is yesterday's low. It's opening below the 8 day. Here it went a little bit below the 8 day and then was fine. So, you know, for all of you guys who are saying, hey, it's been 8 weeks, it's time for a 5% correction, it's time for a 3% correction, we'll see. Right now, it's a day and a half correction. You know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell half my puts on the open. I'm going to cover some of the premium, and I'm going to figure out, you know, what we could do. You know, the SPYs right now are down 3 and change. So it's below 750. It's below this. It's below there. So there is a lot of room to 741 if it wants it, but we'll see. It doesn't have to happen. You know, when Google broke this upper area, which we were watching very close, you know, kind of had me shake my head a little bit like, oh, if Google's breaking down here, we got to be a little bit more careful. So, you know, this was your candle to get out. That was your candle to say we got to be done with this trade. The trade changed. And now what? Now it's trying to hold this this gap here at 358. So, you know, we shall see. Amazon also. Amazon gave you a red dog reversal sell right here in a lower high, right? And then a gap down that that never filled it. So hopefully that got you out of the way. And this also broke. So, you know, you have you have Google breaking, Amazon breaking. it seemed as if everything was just, going with the semis. And then NVIDIA was a fantastic trade on Monday into Tuesday. And guess what? It wasn't a fantastic trade Tuesday into Wednesday. You had to get out of the way. Like, this should not have happened. NVIDIA, had this nice move above 218, went to 232, got above the prior high, which was 224, and couldn't hold it. What's your sell rule, right? I tell you guys about sell rules. Sell rules is sell into strength, net some money, and then if you can't hold above a prior high, you also adjust. If it was going to get above 236, it would never went back below 224. Went back below 224, so that was your adjustment point. I wound up having a little bit, and then when it broke 221-ish, I got out. And now what? I guess we'll see. Does it hold here? Does it hold 208? Does it do a little bit of a red dog reversal? I don't know. We'll see. But with that being said, it's been a nice move. And it's been a very profitable move. On Monday, I did the day count rules with you. I'm like, guys, I'm selling my Palantir calls. Somebody yelled at me. I sold Microsoft and I sold ServiceNow on Friday, not even on Monday perfectly. You don't have to be perfect. And now what? Kind of came in a little bit more than it should have, right? Look how harsh that was. So 3 up days into 3 down days. That's not easy. I was hoping it would hold here and be very methodical and give you a nice trade instead of blew through it. So I actually bought some options. I didn't buy Microsoft itself, so we'll see what happens here. Microsoft is up a little bit with the market down. It's kind of like a contrarian trade, but whatever. So these things are whipping around. John Boston saying that the banks still look good. Let's take a look. What does Goldman Sachs look like? Goldman Sachs looks great, by the way. Nice trend. Hit 1,073 last time I was talking about Goldman Sachs. I'm like, this thing's gonna go to 1,000 plus. It went to 1,073. So see what happens here. Does it hold the 8-day? Morgan Stanley's been awesome too. Morgan Stanley, last time I was looking at it, was right here. And I framed the trade for those who want some banks. I haven't been playing the banks, so I'm not going to make it like I'm killing it in the banks. I just put the charts there for those who do. So now you'll see, does it hold the 8-day or not? Someone's asked me about Qualcomm. What's Qualcomm doing? Qualcomm looks good still. Last time I had Qualcomm, I was telling you guys to buy it down here. Has a nice upper bull flag. I guess we'll see what it's doing now. It looks pretty good. Nice bull flag. It's been great. Qualcomm's been a great trade. This gap never got filled. Actually, Conrad, take a look at Qualcomm. We talk about gaps that don't get filled and a nice trend. Well, here you had a gap at 143, a gap at 161, and then you had a nice cross of the 8-day here. What's Qualcomm doing today? Qualcomm is in a sea of red-ish. It's down 11. All right. So see if it holds in here. Does this trade stay the same? I would say if you're long Qualcomm, you could be long versus 226. That would be your out. If it breaks 226, that trade changes. And if it, could absorb this down move, maybe at some point it gets above here. But we shall see. It's down 11. All right. Well, it's down with everything else. Anyway, what is Red Dog going to do today? First of all, Apple's been a trickier. Like, look at this, looked like it was going to break the 8-day and then came back up and then opened up 315 and failed, and now it's up. Things are getting a little choppier. It's June. Market's been strong for literally for 7-8 weeks. So you're allowed to do a little bit more low growth, slow net, just to have a little less risk out there, especially if you've been doing great. I know for me, I hit the highs of my year on not yesterday. Yesterday I lost a little bit of money. On what's today? Tuesday. So, and now I'm coming in today and I'm very flexible, which I'm fine with. Flexible and fine. That's going to be my new, it was a bunch of months ago is you want to stay safe and sane so you could, see when things change to the upside. And now what I just say, fine and flexible. Let's be fine and flexible. Scott, since you mentioned pork, I'm cooking some bacon. There you go. A little bacon in the morning, little egg whites and bacon. It's a nice breakfast of champions. I already did my 20-5-20 workout. I needed it. I was in the sauna today. I sweated out some kibasi and some tomahawk and actually a lot of salt in that. So it took a little while. I needed like 194 degrees. I have my thermometer outside my sauna, so I take the governor off. So usual saunas in your house only get to like 160, 170. Mine gets to 210. Yeah. Anyway, I'll be all right. How sick was that, Vincent? Mister, yeah. Uh, Bitcoin's been horrible. Someone's like, Red Dog, what does that mean? I'm like, what does it mean? It means you stay away from Bitcoin. Bitcoin, gold, and silver. Yeah, some people buy a little bit every single month in an asset allocation plan, which is great over time. If you have 15% or so of your assets in that, that's fine. But if you trade it for a living, it's been horrible. You hopefully shorted every balance. I've tried IBIT a bunch of times in options, but it's been broken as hell. So anyway, with that being said, look when it broke. Bitcoin right here was decent, and then Bitcoin broke at 78,000. You could have got out. Or right here, look at that one, lost the moving averages. Wow. And this was just continuation to what has been a negative trend. But if you've been shorting the semis because Bitcoin's so weak, you haven't been doing so good except for today. Look at this trend to the downside. And now that it's right, wow, it's lows of the year almost. Jeez. Again, when you're playing or you're trading to make money to make a living, you got to be in things that are above the 821 day, not below. So this has been for sale. Anyway, with that being said, someone's like, what do I think of Micron? Micron's been absolutely, fantastic for the longs. It did get a little extended from the 8-day. This is 1089. So for today, it'll be interesting to see, because obviously this didn't look like a short. Vago's lower, AVGL, Broadcom. Will it hold this gap? This is 1,009. This is 940, and then this is your 8-day. Your 8-day has been support. So will the dip be bought in Micron? We shall see. Right now, Micron's down 75 points at 1,003. So it's already in the gap. Gap gets filled down towards, this is 956. Where's the 8-day? 8-day is that what? That's like 970-ish. Yeah, so we'll see. Will this be a turn for the semis? Could be. If anything, I don't think anyone's so long. Like, look at this. Day counter was 1, 2, 3, 4 up days in a row. There's your 8-day. So, you had to know that there is some risk, when earnings reports come out. That's why options is premium paid. But anyway, what's my thoughts on Tesla? First, so here's this. This is 1,009. Gap gets filled at what? 981. So if you're short some MU, you've been doing the wrong thing, by the way. But congratulations. If you're not that long, that's cool too. So here's your gap fill, and we'll see. A lot of times lately, people who are pressing are not making money. There's been cute money to be made, but not to press. What do I think of Tesla? Tesla was decent yesterday. It's getting a little wishy-washy. I would say this is 413. This is 416. I'm in some TSLL. I'm not in Tesla itself. I will probably look to see if I could buy it this morning. But if this doesn't hold 413, 416, I might have to, move Tesla down the list. Tesla's been on the B plus-ish list ever since the Red Dog reversal here. Had a nice move. Then gave you a Red Dog reversal here into the moving average is a lower high. It's trying. What's Tesla doing this morning? It's down 450. I will probably look to see if it's buyable, see if it shows a little relative strength versus SPYs or the Qs. But again, I'm on my toes, and we shall see. Someone said, what about the SpaceX IPO? Well, I'm going to use the art of the first day like I always do. I kept everyone safe away from CBRS because it was an inflated pig, excuse my French, but it was. The investment banks kept that stock private for way too long, and it failed miserably the art of the first day, where nobody needed to be long it. Nobody. If you look at this was day one of the IPO. So how does the art of the first day work? Well, as soon as it opens up, every guy that's got free stock from ever or had a favor to some Wall Street jerk, no, I'm kidding, gets free stock at the IPO price, and they're all flipping, whatever that price is. So it opened at 350, touched 385. Guess what? Never got above that. That means there was more supply than demand. That means if you're trading it in the aftermarket, you're not getting long. And PS, it's worked its way lower since. This low down here is what, 212? That's a spot. 212. If we were to break that, I think the IPO price that it was supposed to be was 180. So maybe a 180 for you long-term guys that think this is going to be an unbelievable stock company at some point and not be a bloated, you know what, because of the IPO, you know who's, maybe 180-ish. So let's see. Where is this morning? CBRS. It's below it. So anyway, it failed miserably. Then made a lower high, and it's worked its way lower since. So what's my thought on SpaceX? I'm going to use the art of the first day, the same art of the first day I've been using since Facebook, since LinkedIn, since all of these. You know, basically, if the demand's going to outstrip the supply, and it's priced right, it's going to give you an opening, print and a high. It's going to go sideways, and then it's going to take that out and stay above it and give you a good trade. Otherwise, sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months. Yes, Apple is like the reversal of the reversal trade. It's pretty hard. Apple's up 250 in a sea of red. We'll see how that goes. I would not be buying it or shorting it up here. It's trying to prove that it could stay special, but it's getting a little trickier, to be honest. I'm going to take it slow today. Where's the 8-day on Soxel? Let me take a look for you. The 8-day on Soxel is, a lot of my friends have been fighting this a little bit, so I'm happy that it's down a little bit, is right here. Last time it came into the 8-day, it held. This was 207-ish. So now the Soxel 8-day is 257. This is like, what's this low here? 240-ish. So we'll see. Does 240 hold, or does it change? If you're sold into strength, hopefully, maybe you'll see if 240-ish is buyable. Where is it right now? Soxel is close. So 240-ish should be a spot to see if it holds or not. There it is. Anyway, it's 649. What I would do if you're short and you're overhedged, cover some. If you're net short, cover some and see. Today, maybe, with things lower, we'll see if there's some ways to buy versus a 5, 15-minute low. If you have low risk, you have the luxury of buying versus levels today for some cash flow. Is the art of the first day on YouTube, Red Dog? Yes, it is, Channel Guy Trader. So what you could do is Google Scott Redler, the art of the first day. Or I think Conrad, my boy over here, is making a video showing the art of the first day with a lot of different names, and it's going to go through it. So this way you don't get, a stock shoved down your throat like they did with CBRS, which was priced all wrong. Remember the data at 830 Meta. Meta is hard, for this to happen where it went to 643 and then broke it and then came back up. I think Meta's worth a look today. Meta's down 6 only, but it's really hard name lately. It's really hard. It's a laggard. I did see a price target raised to 900 on Meta, so maybe Meta could be worth a look. Let it put a low in like it's 615, go to 616 or 617, traded versus that, and then perhaps Meta is something that can go green, because it's also sometimes on these down days they go after, kind of like the contrarian move of the stock that hasn't been so good. And obviously Meta has not been good whatsoever. It's been trapped in this downtrend for a while. Did wake up a little bit yesterday. Someone said the Jensen remarks were recycled from weeks ago. So I don't know. All I know is very tough stock, so you don't want to play the toughest stocks out there. But it's decent. Anyway, with that being said, take it easy. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you who signed up for Red Dog Mindset and subscribed above, you will never lose access to the 630 Club. If you subscribe above, you will never. As long as I'm doing the 630 Club, you have access. For those who are winging it, maybe one day you wake up and it's not here. For those of you who are members of the Alpha team, I'm looking forward to putting the 40 charts, listening to some music, and coming up with an actionable plan. So this way we could stack some days and keep moving forward and keep making some progress. You don't have to be perfect out there. Just make some progress. Progress feels good. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and have a great Thursday, my doggies.